For nearly 3,000 years, one empire shaped the ancient world, leaving behind monuments that still boggle the mind and a legacy that has fascinated us for centuries. This is the story of ancient Egypt. So how did a civilization born from the mud of a single river climb to such incredible heights? And what secrets to its long life can we learn from its eventual fall? From the very first pharaoh to the final conquest, we're charting the epic history of the Egyptian empire. You can't tell the story of ancient Egypt without starting with the Nile. This one river created an impossible ribbon of green, slicing right through the harsh Sahara Desert. Its predictable annual flood deposited a layer of rich, black soil that allowed farming to boom and a complex society to grow. The ancient Egyptians knew they owed everything to it. They didn't just rely on the Nile, they worshipped it as a god. But before the pharaohs, this land was split in two. In the south, you had Upper Egypt. In the north, the marshy delta of Lower Egypt. For centuries, they were separate kingdoms, until around 3100 BCE, when a ruler from the south did the impossible. We know him today as Narmer, though some call him Menes. Through sheer military might, he hammered the two halves together, forging the world's first great nation-state, a unified kingdom that would stand for millennia. The proof is etched in stone on the iconic Narmer palette, one of history's most priceless artifacts. On one side, Narmer wears the tall white crown of the south. On the other, he sports the flat red crown of the north. It was a powerful message. He was now the master of the two lands. He set up a new capital, Memphis, right at the border of the old kingdoms, creating a new heart for his new civilization. With that, the first dynasty was born, and the long, epic story of the pharaohs had officially begun. This unification kicked off an age of unbelievable power and creativity. The Old Kingdom, better known as the Age of the Pyramids. This is when the core ideas of Egyptian society were set in stone. The king was no longer just a king. He was a living god, the sacred link between heaven and earth. It was his job to maintain Ma'at, the cosmic order of truth, justice, and balance. And what do you do when your king is a god? You build him a stairway to the heavens. This divine kingship fueled the most ambitious construction projects the world had ever seen. It all started around 2670 BCE with King Djoser. His brilliant architect, a high priest named Imhotep, came up with a revolutionary idea. Instead of the usual flat-top tomb, a mastaba, Imhotep stacked 6 of them, each one smaller than the one below. The result was the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, the world's first massive building made entirely of stone. Imhotep's breakthrough sparked an architectural arms race. Within a century, the Egyptians had perfected the pyramid. King Khufu of the 4th dynasty commissioned the ultimate power move, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Soaring to a height of nearly 147 meters, it would remain the tallest man-made structure on Earth for almost 4,000 years. How they built it, moving millions of stone blocks with such incredible precision, is still a marvel of engineering, and it shows just how powerful the state was at organizing its people. Along with the pyramids of Khafre and Menkaure and the mysterious Sphinx standing guard, these weren't just tombs. They were resurrection machines, built to guarantee the pharaoh's rebirth and the eternal stability of Egypt itself. But no empire lasts forever. And after centuries of glory, the Old Kingdom's central power fell apart, leading to a chaotic time of civil war and hunger known as the First Intermediate Period. But Egypt wasn't done yet. Around 2040 BCE, a prince from Thebes named Mentuhotep II pulled the two lands back together, launching the Middle Kingdom. Often called Egypt's Golden Age, this period wasn't about building bigger pyramids. It was a time for a flourishing of culture, art, and storytelling. The capital moved south to Thebes as the pharaohs focused on beefing up the borders, expanding trade, and launching huge irrigation projects to make the land even richer. For the first time, art got real. It started showing pharaohs not just as perfect gods, but as tired, aging, and careworn human beings. and literature began exploring complex stories, like the classic Tale of Sinai. Maybe the biggest change, though, was in religion. The cult of Osiris, the god of the underworld, became incredibly popular, and the idea of an afterlife became available to everyone. This democratization of the afterlife meant that you didn't have to be a pharaoh to live forever. With enough piety and the right burial, anyone could make it. The Middle Kingdom was a more mature, thoughtful version of Egypt, a time of stability that set the stage for the imperial power that was still to come. If you're loving this journey back in time, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. We have so many more stories from the ancient world to share, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. But that stability didn't last. A foreign people from Asia, known as the Hyksos, swept in and took over northern Egypt, ruling for over a century. That humiliation lit a fire under the Egyptians. The pharaohs who rose from the ashes, expelling the Hyksos around 1550 BCE, were done playing defense. They were determined never to be conquered again. They built a massive buffer zone, forging an empire that stretched all the way from modern-day Sudan to Syria. This was the New Kingdom, the age of conquerors and empire, Egypt's wealthiest and most powerful era. And the names from this period? They're legendary. You had Hatshepsut, a woman who broke all the rules and ruled as a full-blown pharaoh for over 2 decades, bringing peace and incredible wealth. Her successor, Thutmose III, was a military genius who locked down Egypt's empire with one victory after another. Later, there was Akhenaten, the heretic king who tried to throw out thousands of years of tradition and force everyone to worship a single god, the sun disk, Aten. His religious revolution didn't stick, and his son, the famous boy king Tutankhamun, quickly restored the old gods. The absolute peak of power came with Ramesses II, also known as Ramesses the Great. He ruled for an astonishing 67 years, fought the rival Hittite Empire to a draw, and signed the world's first known peace treaty. He literally wrote his legacy in stone all across Egypt, most famously at the giant temples of Abu Simbel. But the pharaohs had learned a lesson. Giant pyramids were just giant targets for tomb robbers. So they switched tactics. They started hiding their tombs in a desolate, sun-blasted canyon on the Nile's west bank, the Valley of the Kings. For 500 years, they carved elaborate tombs deep into the rock, covering the walls with magical texts from the Book of the Dead. These weren't just burial spots. They were spiritual engines designed to guide the pharaoh's soul through the dangers of the underworld and ensure he was reborn as a god. But no golden age lasts forever. After the reign of Ramesses III, the last truly great pharaoh of the New Kingdom, Egypt began a long, slow slide. The central government was weakened by infighting, economic troubles, and wave after wave of invasions. Egypt found itself being ruled by a series of outsiders, first Libyans, then Nubian kings from the Kingdom of Kush, and then the ruthless Assyrians. There were short-lived comebacks, but the glory days were gone for good. In 525 BCE, the massive Persian Empire conquered Egypt and made it just another province. The Egyptians fought back fiercely and even won back their independence for a short time, but their strength was gone. The final native pharaoh, Nectanebo II, was defeated by a second Persian invasion in 343 BCE, ending an unbroken line of native rule that had lasted for over 2,700 years. The final chapter began just over a decade later, in 332 BCE. A new power was rising in the Mediterranean, the Macedonians, led by Alexander the Great. When he marched into Egypt, the people cheered for him as a liberator who freed them from the Persians. Alexander was declared pharaoh, but his victory marked the true end of ancient Egyptian civilization as it had existed for millennia. His Greek successors, the Ptolemaic dynasty, would rule Egypt until the Romans showed up, but the age of the god kings and the pyramid builders was over. From Narmer's first unification to Alexander's final conquest, the civilization of ancient Egypt endured for nearly 3 millennia, longer than almost any other in the ancient world. They didn't just build monuments that still humble us. They pioneered writing, medicine, and mathematics that pushed all of human knowledge forward. Their art, their religion, and their culture left a mark on the world that's impossible to erase. The story of ancient Egypt is more than a history of pharaohs and pyramids. It's a testament to the incredible resilience of a unified culture that rose, fell, and was reborn again and again, leaving a legacy that even now hasn't been buried by the sands of time.